Hello everyone and welcome to not Mist Survival very clearly. Instead we are playing Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. Now okay, feel free to skip ahead for the first few minutes of the video if you... first of all, the start of this game came with a warning that this game deals with sensitive issues around mental health to do with psychosis, etc, which some people may consider triggering. If that's the case for you, please feel free to not watch this series. Alright, as I was saying, also if you don't want to hear this little bit of a ramble as to why we're not playing Mist Survival, please feel free to kind of skip ahead on the video until the point where you see the screen change, and then we'll be getting into the gameplay. Otherwise, maybe just buckle your seatbelts for a couple of minutes. So I was trying to play Mist, and to cut a long story short, it just didn't grab me. It didn't suck me in, it didn't hold me in, and it just didn't give me what I felt like I needed from a game. You know, I reflected a little bit on it, and I kind of realized, you know, if I'm going to sit and play a game, I need to be invested in it, and I need to feel like I'm not wasting my time. Like, at the end of the day, if I'm looking to watch a movie, it's the same principle. If I'm looking to have any kind of experience, I've got to know that there's some reason that I'm doing it. There's some meaning. There's some purpose. It's got to have some substance. That's a great way of putting it. A good word for it. I mean, it's got to have some substance. Mist Survival, and I feel like this is the case with probably a lot of survival games that I've tried to play in the past. Where now, multiplayer, no dramas, hanging out with a few other people, having a great experience together and having a bit of fun, it's a totally different story. But for myself, entering into that world, not feeling a very interesting kind of mechanical experience, and also just not feeling it. I mean, I could go into more detail as to exactly what I mean by that, but that's all it was. At the end of the day, it just wasn't for me. It wasn't resonating. I think I could play it multiplayer, I could have a bit of fun with other people in it, but you know, if I'm going to get into some kind of game or some kind of experience, there's got to be some slice of the pie or some piece of the puzzle that feels like it's connecting with me in some way. Like, this is a prime example, Hellblade. You know, this is a prime example of a kind of game where, one, there's a fascinating story, and two, there's a specific element to this game around mental health, psychosis. You know, this is quite a legendary game in terms of what it offers. So I didn't get that from Mist, unfortunately, and that's the same kind of story with a lot of survival games that I've tried to play in the past. So I guess prepare yourself for going forward in the future of this channel. I have decided to be one of those YouTubers who just jumps into a lot of situations blind, and I want to kind of offer that experience as it unfolds. And thinking about it now, I could have uploaded the first episode for you to see. I've already deleted it, the episode of Mist that I made. I could have uploaded it for you to see what I was going through, because I was trying to work through it on the video. But at the end of the day, I decided to delete it without thinking about this. And so we're going to be jumping into a little bit of Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice this week. And from now on, if that happens, if you guys choose a game for me and I think I want to play it and I give it a go and I don't like it, I will upload those videos for you to see. And then, you know, you'll get to see in that I just didn't really want to waste your time thinking you were getting into a series of Mist. Maybe some of you really like the game, and so, you know, I didn't want to set you up for that fall. But thinking about it, maybe you do want to see the kind of process that I go through when it comes to playing some of these games. Alrighty, I do believe. Oh, also, the microphone doesn't work. This is becoming a very common problem for some of the games on the channel that I'm trying to play. For the last 3 days, I've been playing tons and tons of different kind of shorter games, preparing for the couple of weeks off that I'm going to have in December, so I can set some videos to be uploading, and loads of them. That other microphone just does not like to work. So, with all of that said, please do prepare yourself for a shiny silver presence, because we'll be using this backup microphone, but it should be fine. It should be dandy. Alright, that was 5 minutes. That was long enough. Let us, please, you and I, settle down. Let us prepare to chill and play Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. That's a screenshot. I need that. I need that for the thumbnail. Okay, sorry about that. Headphones. You need headphones. Put them on. I recommend it. The game recommends it.
Hello. Who are you?
Sorry. I just want to make sure. Oh, it's loud as it can be. Okay. Let's. Hey, wait. You need subtitles, don't you? Some people. You need subtitles. Maybe I'll just turn the music down a touch so the voices appears to be a little bit louder. Let's go.
Welcome. You're safe with me. I'll be right here, nice and close so I can speak without alerting the others. Let me tell you about Senua. Now, her story has already come to an end, but now it begins anew.
What's happening? It's breathing. Dead. It's breathing. It's breathing. He knows she's getting closer. He can feel her coming closer. She's getting closer. They're watching. They're watching. They're watching.
This is a journey deep into darkness. There will be no more stories after this one.
What is she doing? Why is she doing this? They're watching. Why doesn't she turn coming? She's doing this for him. She wants to rescue him. He's already dead. I can feel you coming. Quiet.
Oh, how rude of me. I never told you of the others. You hear them too, right? They've been around ever since the tragedy. Well, that's not quite true. Some are old, some are new, but they've changed. I think the darkness changed them, just like it changed her.
Can you see them? Over there. Why isn't she looking? Why aren't you looking? He's in hell high.
Look, up ahead. You see it too?
You promised you can.
Yes. It is real after all. She's finally arrived in the land of mist and fog. The place the Northmen call hell.
This is more like it.
Turn back. Go back. Go back. It's not safe. Turn back. Go back. Go back. Go back. It's not safe.
It's them. They're here.
You see them? You can see it.
So, as I'm watching this,
Around and you will see them.
I'll get to it in a sec.
The drowned, the sick, the slain. Here they lie, rotting in the fields and rivers of hell. But the dead don't always lie still here.
You see them?
This is not a place of rest.
You can't do this. Go back. Go back. They're going to do that to you. Can you see them? Can you see them? They're going to do that to you.
They're watching.
Stop.
Can you feel them watching? They're watching her.
They're watching her. You're so close to the darkness. Go back. Can you feel it?
What is she thinking? I can tell you. She's afraid. Wouldn't you be? You'd think she would get used to it by now after so many years. But the darkness, it just builds onto itself, growing stronger, towering over her. You might try and ignore it, turn away. But it's always there, just out of sight, where you're most vulnerable. It's like it knows that just enough light is all you need to see its suffocating power.
They can feel you.
You might think she's brave to go on this journey on her own, but it isn't bravery that drives her. Bravery only means something to those afraid of death. Senua's fear runs far, far deeper.
So, as I was about to say, which I think I can say now, I've kind of just made my mind up about something. And this is something that I've kind of briefly, I suppose, hinted at and mentioned up to now on the channel without going into too much detail about it in the
What is she looking at?
past.
What is she leaving behind? I know what she's thinking. I hear her thoughts. It's not too late to get into the boat and go back. No one will judge her. No one will ever know. Oh, she heard us. There's no going back.
You can't do it.
Senua pushes away a world that conspired to cause so much suffering. There's nothing to go back to, and worse to look forward to. Why don't you join us? Maybe you too have a part to play in this story.
So yeah, this is something that I think it's probably important to bring it up. It's the sort of thing that I don't usually bring up in life, and I've found under most circumstances it's not necessary to, and it's actually, I mean, the word dangerous to bring it up is probably not quite appropriate, but it's more beneficial to myself most of the time to not bring it up. But at the end of the day, I want this channel to be authentic and to be true and to be a real experience and a real expression of my life, at least from my side of this channel, the presentation side of it, and my journey through this. So I do have and this might be a little bit controversial, and I probably won't go into too many details here in this particular video. I guess if you want to know more, feel free to ask about it if you want to, and I might do like a separate video on it. But I do have a personal history with schizophrenia and psychosis, at least what most people think of as schizophrenia and psychosis. And this is the controversial element of it. Some of it was cultivated, so some of it I was born with, some of it I experienced as a child, and I had very, very specific, intense experiences as a child that mentally I'm talking about, that led me down a specific path of spiritual inquiry in this life. I was quite lucky that I didn't approach a doctor early on, and I never talked to anyone about it to the point where I was taken down the medical route.
Look really clearly.
Focus, Senua.
Focus. Focus and you'll see. What happens if you focus?
How do I focus? Right trigger.
Do not forget my stories, Senua, because your darkness comes from hell, and your fate lies there. They say the burning of a corpse will take you straight to Hela's gate, but gods and the living will follow this path. You must leave the Isles of Orkney across the eastern sea and find a road that leads north and down through deep, dark valleys. After 9 nights of riding, you will follow a great river and will find a bridge covered in gold. The path to Helheim goes from there, across the River of Knives that flows from the dark world of Niflheim.
Cool. Alright, I think we're done. So, I had very specific experiences as a child. Luckily, I was able to avoid a diagnosis. And it became, because it was linked up with the paranormal. I could go into more detail in a video explaining it. It was linked up with paranormal experiences that I had as a child, and it became a clear directive for my life to pursue this, to pursue the desire to understand what I was experiencing. And so, because of the experiences I'd had, I ended up going down a very specific road of spiritual inquiry, and that's where I say, later on in my life, although I'd had these experiences of what some people would consider to be psychosis, psychotic, and later on I learned about the path of natural inquiry into this condition of the mind. I didn't want to hide from it, I didn't want to take medication, I didn't want to fix it, I wanted to understand what it was that was occurring. I wanted to see the depths of what was happening. And so I learned how to meditate. I spent about 5 years living at basically a monastery, a school of meditation, and I learned about the nature of the mind, and I learned to look deep within myself. And throughout that process, I had to cultivate various experiences of mental health, including what some people would consider to be schizophrenia, psychosis, various deluded states of the mind's delusion, or just altered perception. It's not necessarily a delusion if you can see what it is and you know its function. It just becomes a perception that you have that a lot of other people don't have. They don't experience it. So I just wanted to mention that, because if I'm open about it, I can give a little bit of context, especially in a game like this.
Darkness is coming. Yearns for life. Hungers for it.
So those are,
Pack of wolves on a hunt. But she's
and
not stopping.
I'll get off this in a second. Schizophrenia and psychosis are some of the more extreme examples of what I've experienced, along with things like anxiety and depression and paranoia and things like that. Anyway, so, I just want to be honest about that, because at the end of the day, we are real human beings and we're playing video games, and the game is not really what matters here. It's you, the viewer, and it's me, the player. We are what matters. The game is secondary. It's a byproduct for our expression, It's like the movie. The movie's not what's important, it's you. It's your journey, your story. So, you are real. Anyway, I'll shut up now. Let's play the game.
Mist and fog. The old fool was right. What was it he said? The river of knives across which lies the halls of hell. The place they call Helheim.
He's lost. He's lost.
Where are you? I hear you.
He's there, you know it.
There's no doubt about
He's
it.
lost.
The source of the darkness is in Helheim,
They're calling
and the goddess Hela holds his soul there. Her dear beloved, Dillian.
I hope the game's loud enough. I wish it was a little bit louder, but I've literally got everything set to max. except for the music. You know, I want the voices to be louder. But anyway,
Why is she doing this? Why doesn't she turn back? She's doing this for him. She wants to rescue him.
He's already dead.
But his soul is in Helheim. His soul still lives. She wants to rescue him. She needs to save his soul.
oh wow.
She wants his soul to be at peace.
Okay, we just got a bit
Lay him to
bit
rest.
jerky here on the graphics.
He's already dead.
She can save him.
There's nothing she can do. She thinks she's going to save him. She's not going to save him.
She'll never make
Do you
it
know
to the
where
bridge
you
to
are?
Helheim.
Where else she can't?
I forget its name. She forgets too.
Looks amazing though, doesn't it?
But she does remember that only the dead may cross it.
Graphically.
That part wasn't so easy to forget. The old fool said there was a hidden path up to it. Let's see, shall we?
I feel like I just want to say one last thing on what I was talking about before, because it is a very it is a very controversial kind of topic, and it's one of the reasons I don't really speak a lot about it. But like I said, through pursuing the natural kind of spiritual dimension of mental health, I just want to say one thing, that it is an absolute reality, okay, meaning complete fact of my own experience, that it is possible to have one conversation with a doctor, psychologist or a psychiatrist, and receive a very specific view and interpretation of your expression, of what you're saying, and to receive kind of labels and diagnoses and all the rest of it. Diagnoses. But to have the same exact conversation and present the exact same data and information to other people who are more inclined towards... I'm talking about a deep spirituality here. I'm not talking about a flighty kind of belief system. I'm talking about an experiential inquiry into the nature of life and mind and spirituality and what that is for real. You know, not reading from a book. To talk to people who live in that domain and to receive a completely different level of insight, to the point where one can be soul destroying and life destroying, and the other can be literally the very opposite. Mind opening, heart opening, life saving. Anyway, so the reason I say that is because it's a very, very important point, especially for people who have a little experience of mental health, or whose only perception of mental health issues are from observing other people go through it without having your own experience of it, or just very little insight into it. They're two different dimensions. To go through it yourself, to have your own insight, and to have gone very deeply into it, gives you a point of view and perspective on these types of conditions that is not what the mainstream think it is. Anyway, it's a controversial subject, so I'll just leave it there. It's also a controversial subject for YouTube. You have to be quite careful around how you navigate this, so doing it while playing a video game is probably not the best time to discuss it. Anyway, I probably won't bring it up much more. Let's just carry on.
The Northmen speak of 9 worlds. The world of men they call Midgard. Sky gods dwell in Asgard. The gods of earth, harvest, wind, and sea dwell in Vanaheim. The good elves dwell in Alfheim. The evil ones dwell in Svartalfheim. The mountain giants dwell in Jotunheim. The fire giants dwell in Muspelheim. Niflheim is the world of ice and darkness. Only the dead dwell in Helheim, and that is where you must travel.
Your mysticism. Beautiful. So I've got a couple graphics settings set up here as I jumped into the game, which I've never ever used in a game before. Oh yeah, well, I've played with ray tracing in Minecraft very briefly. So we've got ray tracing enabled. And we've also got NVIDIA DLSS, which is some sort of resolution software which enhances the graphics and frame rate at the same time. I've just never used it before. If it gives us a problem, fuck, it looks amazing, doesn't it? Like the character, the detail on her just looks fucking amazing. If it gives us problems, it shouldn't do. We're running a decent rig, gaming rig. So if we have problems, I'll just disable it. But this is an example of, like, already I'm in this game. Like, I want it. I'm feeling it. It's got me, you know. And it's more of a kind of confirmation as to making the right decision not to play Myst. I'm not going to be able to play games like that. It'll be too just pointless for me to do it from my point of view, you know. My interest isn't there. It's not deep enough.
Just drop down.
It's just
Where you are? Where are we?
just not deep enough for what I need at the moment.
Why did she do that? She shouldn't have done it.
She can't go back now. No, this is it. The hidden path.
It's quite interesting too. You know, this experience she's having here of ignoring these voices. It's one of the ways that you have to deal with most of what happens, not all of it. But there's and that's one of the most difficult parts about what you're experiencing is how do you discern between what is unhelpful for you to follow and listen to and what might be worth listening to, because there's a part of your brain that's communicating data and information to you that's not conscious. If you say you're hearing a voice that's communicating with you, and this is, oh fuck, I'm gonna have to go into it a little bit. You can have a dream. You may be able to associate with this. This is just for even ordinary people. You can have a dream when you go to sleep at night where you talk and communicate with a person in your dream who gives you data and information and communicates with you about things that you don't consciously understand. Even a lot of ordinary people have those experiences. So when you lay down at night and you go into some realm of your consciousness, call it a dream state, there's a part of your consciousness, whether that's your brain or not is a different question, but there's a part of your consciousness that can communicate with you about information you don't consciously have. You don't understand it. It's fresh information for you. So if that happens to you in the waking state, let's say your brain is functioning in a slightly different way, you might experience that as hearing a voice which is telling you something. Now, okay, yeah, a good majority of the time it is stuff you shouldn't be listening to, or it's just useless information, or it's not particularly important information, I should say. But occasionally there's information that's passed along that part of your brain is detecting that it might be useful for you to know. At that point you're talking to yourself. You can have a conversation with that part of your brain that will continually feed information to you, and it harkens back to, God fucking hell, practically every legend on the planet where somebody was talking to an angel or a demon or an entity they had communicated with an entity. It's a bit different. It's the same. Hang on, I need to make sure I get this right in order if I'm going to start talking about it. There are many varying degrees of these types of experiences. Some of the visions and things that people experienced of old are not the same as just hearing a voice, but it's all connected. It's the same mind and brain that's having that type of experience, depending on what level of experience it is and what intensity it's operating at. Okay, anyway, I'll try not to say too much more about it. What have we got here? Because it will detract from the game a lot. Anyway, just bear with me, alright?
It's going to hurt you.
Don't kill me. I'm not one of them. Don't listen. I was just hiding. I find I live longer that way. Don't listen. Never let the bastards catch me again. Never! Wait. Who are you?
It's just a memory.
Druth? Is that you?
For my tales of the Northmen, they call me Druth.
Fucking love this. You know why? Because what you're witnessing here is a merger of, I mean, the question arises with regards to, is this a mental health condition for her right now? She's hearing these voices and thoughts, but she's also having visions, which I can only guess we're about to detect is some kind of deceased, some kind of actual spirit. So you've got this question arising as to what is real and what isn't. What is a mental health problem versus what is perhaps a deeper form of perception with regards to what life is and how life operates. And this kind of harkens back to, like I said, my own experience of having paranormal experiences along this type of line. And I'll have to really try not to talk about it in this video, because this is what happens. In order to get clear on what I'm trying to express, I have to pay attention to what I'm saying, and I can't play a fucking game doing that. So it's going to be a difficult one for me. Please bear with me. I'll try not to interrupt the game too much, because it will become a problem for anybody who's wanting to watch the game. And plus, I want to play it too. I could sit here and talk about this for the next half an hour, you know. But I promise, I'll try not to bring it up too much.
Liar. An old fool. Truth is my truth.
It's good to see you again. You kept your vow.
Guide you in this life and the next. I will tell you my stories of hell, if I may walk with you.
Feel free.
Tell me your stories again, old friend.
The more the merrier.
I'm listening.
The runes seal the gates to hell.
I love this.
Focus your inner eye, and you too will see what's hidden in plain sight.
I can see one.
Hold it in your mind's eye. Find one like it to open the gate.
Use your eyes. She needs to look closer. He's not wrong.
Listen here. Focus, and you'll find it. Look
Nice.
towards the gate, and the gate will open.
I wonder if this is based on a real legend. Like, I know it's based on real mythology in terms of what we're being told about the different dimensions of, you know, the afterlife or the different realms of the gods and stuff. But I wonder if her story, Senua, is she a part of mythology? If she is, I've never heard of it.
The gate is open. Go through the gate.
Go through it.
I really like this.
Follow it.
Go.
What's behind the gate?
Where will it take you?
It's not safe.
It worked.
I spent 6 years enslaved in hell, but I watched the Northmen, learnt their ways.
I know you did.
You listened when everyone else laughed. My people paid a heavy price. Carry my stories with you, and together we will make the Northmen feel our fury.
I think this is probably one of the first, like...
Another voice joins us. She once tried to make them go away. Pretend they weren't real. But what good is that? When we are always here.
That is such an important point, right? For somebody who's having these types of experiences, you know, if you want to say they're not real, I'll give you one example. Let's say that I have this experience, that I have had, or was having this experience as a child where, you know, very regularly I would have this form of communication with, let's just call it a disembodied voice, like a spirit or something like that. And I was having that experience when I was 6. Now let's say that I'm 35 and I can still communicate with that same voice. Let's just say this is just an example. So these experiences are still with me, and yet in my life teachers have come and gone, friends have come and gone, jobs have come and gone, living environments have come and gone, this body, relationships have come and gone. So what is more real? If this one element of my consciousness has been with me my entire life, and yet this world is so changing and fleeting, how do you define which one is more real, or which one is real and which one is unreal? There is something I've had solid within my experience of this life the whole time I've been here. So you try telling a person like that what they're experiencing is not real. Anyway, just sort of, you know, she said she tried to pretend they're not real, but it's not the right way to go about it. I was trying to say, I think this is one of the first true proper, like, next gen experiences I've had. Like, I am fucking in awe of these graphics right now. I haven't played a game that looks this good before. If I have, I can't remember it. Fuck, it just looks amazing.
It's the same with heights.
Oh,
Stand on the edge.
maybe Tomb Raider.
It's going to be okay.
When I first played that on the Xbox
But you know that
One.
death is near, waiting for you to
Sorry
make
that I'm pulling you out of the
that
game.
little slip. You can't just wish things away.
I'll try not to, I will.
The world of the dead is ruled by the giantess, Hela, daughter of Loki. The gods feared her bloodline, bad on her mother's side and yet much worse on her father's. So, as a child, the All-Father cast her down into Helheim and gave her power over those who die of sickness, age, hardship, and self-slaughter. In all of the 9 worlds, only Hela can resurrect the dead. To Hela, your Dillion was sacrificed, and with her you must bargain.
Yeah, I'm very, very glad I made the choice to play this today. This was what I needed to play. Okay, do we go down there? Looks like this is a dead end. Yeah, Tomb Raider, maybe I think when I played that had a little bit of this kind of cinematic feel to it. I've only ever played the first new one. I've got all 3 of them. I'd like to play them on the channel too at some point. I didn't complete the first one. Shit, okay, so it's getting a little bit jumpy at times. It's like when there's a new environment loading in. I'll sit with it. If it gets too bad, I'll change it.
Divides the living from the dead. Is that the face of Hela herself? The half-rotten goddess that rules over Helheim. Whatever horrors lie behind that door, she must find him.
Do I have to push here, do I?
Someone's here. I'll give you what you want. I won't resist anymore. Just give him back.
Oh, fucking hell. What? The game not going to tell me what to press. Block, right button. Evade is A. Fuck yeah.
It's nearly over. Finish it. Remember your name.
Fast strike, heavy strike, melee, block, evade.
You won.
Fuck, man, I love that. That feels so good. Oh shit.
She's got her sword.
Oh, we've got a lock-on situation, do we?
Stop. She will die. Stop.
What's going on? Why can't I hit them? I couldn't hit them. Was that a real death or what? A part of the story, right, okay. So I had to die there.
Of what's to come. Poor Senua. The darkness does not bargain. It does not reason. It is rot. And now it has taken hold. It will spread towards her head, the seat of the soul, until there is nothing left of her. All of her suffering will have been for nothing. It's just a matter of time.
The dark rot will grow each time you fail. If the rot reaches Senua's head, her quest is over. So it's permadeath. And all progress will be lost. Oh shit. Wow, well that changes things, doesn't it?
The hardest battles are fought in the mind.
That combat felt so good.
That is what Dillian taught her. With every defeat, the dark rot will grow and soon it will take her soul. But for now, at least, she still has control of her mind. and she will fulfill her vow, whatever the cost.
Do we know what vow she has made yet?
He's not ready.
Listen to me, Senua. The goddess Hela lies behind the gate to Helheim. To open the gate, you must first face the gods that guard it. The god of fire, Surt, and the god of illusion, Valravan. Spill their blood to open the gate to Helheim and enter the land of the dead.
To Dillian.
To his soul.
Okay, give me a second, please.
Why can't she open it? She needs to challenge the gods.
She has to fight 2 gods first.
2 gods?
2 gates.
What would she choose first?
One of them will kill her, I know it.
She's going to die. Uh-oh.
Which one will she challenge first?
Be very careful, Senua.
Choose a gate, Senua.
2 gates, 2 gods.
She's too scared.
Which one?
Interesting to see how the voices are communicating. They're communicating with each other, but they're more communicating from each other. Like it's a knock-on effect.
Valravan, ancestor of the seers and master of ravens. He hunts his prey with his powers of illusion and feasts on their remains.
Cool.
Follow the path to Valravan and defeat him in battle to earn his mark. The gate to Helheim cannot be opened without it.
Oh, did I choose this door, did I? Or I was actually just going over to look at it. Have I chosen, have I? Oh no.
Surt, the fire giant, has answered. He comes from a land older than mankind. And the Northmen call upon his flaming sword to raise their enemies to the ground. Find him, Senua, and spill his blood.
She found the wretched old fool on her way back from the wilds. An outcast. He was badly burnt all over. She took pity on him, for he was not long for this world. Like her, who spoke of his own darkness. The Northmen.
So this voice has a sense of being a guide, doesn't it? Like a guardian. You know, people talk about guardian spirits, guardian angels. It was always fascinating to me. These tales, these, you know, growing up as a child, like these stories of guardian angels, guardian spirits, and just angels and things like that, ghosts and, you know, demons and stuff like that. And I always wondered if there was some sort of parallel between, and this is a question of modern psychology, is, you know, a lot of the old writings we hear and old tales we hear, they didn't have labels like psychosis, schizophrenia, dissociative identity disorder, you know, they didn't have those labels back then. So are we really dealing with, or I should say, are we dealing with, when we hear of these tales, are we dealing with the same condition? After all, it's the same mind, it's the same life, it's the same human organism that has these different labels for all of these things. Just that now we have a very advanced, apparently very advanced science and knowledge compared to when a lot of these tales were written, and when a lot of the more religiously inclined minds were having the same types of experiences. It raises a lot of very important questions. So we've chosen the fire god, clearly. Just a second. We'll just have a little look around here, see what the story is before we approach that doorway over there. Can I run? Oh, I can run, okay. So we've got to find 2 more of these letters. Oh, you can't block those, right?
End it now. It's nearly the end. He can read.
I wonder how many lives we get.
I can still smell it. The sweet, sickly stench of burning human flesh.
Okay, well I see a Y.
And I still hear their cries.
Where is it?
carried in the
Oh
wind.
yeah.
You hear them too, Senua?
Yes, I heard their screams, and I still hear them now.
Wait, does that register? Yeah, okay, it did. So it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a puzzle element to it as well, which is fine, I guess. That'll probably be the
The path to Hellhand is sealed to the living. But you already walk amongst the dead.
that voice is from Lord of the Rings.
Look towards the gate, and you will see that it has opened.
Okay, is that the dead king? The voice of the dead king in the mountain with the army of ghosts. Okay, the puzzle part will probably be my biggest sticking point. You know, that's probably the biggest. I guess that maybe then followed by the combat. But look at the fire effects. Oh, they look good, don't they? Looks like liquid. Yeah, it's highest part of chance I'll get stuck will be the part with the puzzles. And I guess maybe the combat, but it's on normal difficulty, so.
First came to my lands, I knew enough of their tongue to beg for mercy, and they took me as a slave. I wish now that they had slaughtered me like the others. I rode their storm of fire, death, and slavery to many lands. This darkness you speak of, I know it well.
And I'm still here to fight it.
So I've just done a tiny little bit of tweaking with the graphics, but you know, it seems extremely stable until you get those just brief moments where it jerks a little bit. And I think for the sake of having it look as good as it does, I think I'll just leave it all maxed out. Maybe occasionally when it's loading a new zone we'll get a little bit of a stutter, but as long as it's not happening in combat or kind of, you know, in an important part of the gameplay, then I don't mind so much. Now I've just changed a couple of the controls, so bear with me.
She finished him! Don't let them surround you! Don't let them surround you! He's down! Finish! Stop them!
Shit. Oh no, that's me down, is it?
Get up quick!
What do I do? Press A?
Get out! She's hurt! She won't make it!
Yes, she will.
When you see a fire gate of Surt, know that only a sacrifice will stoke the fires of Muspel and let the dead walk through. Find the fire, Senua, to follow the path to Surt.
Well, there was a whole building on fire just across the way, wasn't there?
Hell will not give you the answers you want. But you mustn't look away from the horrors it does offer. Because you cannot overcome suffering if you refuse to look at it.
Although I feel like
What's happening? Where's the fire gone? Where's it gone? The fire's disappeared. It was everywhere. Maybe it was an illusion. It was a trick. It's not there in the first place. Maybe it was a test. Cert's testing us. Cert is testing her. The pyre. Cert is through there. For you. He's waiting for her. You can't get through. How will she get through?
She'll need to find another way.
Truth said, find your own path.
so. Although I
Another way.
There's always a way.
Find your own way.
You just
So
have
this
to
is
find
blocked.
it. Cert is waiting for you. It was never going to be that easy. He's waiting. Cert
Is waiting
she
for
can't
you.
get through. Find him.
The pyre.
I love how it sounds like it's a variation of the same voice, Like the voices sound a bit different, but they also sound like they're the same voice or similar voice, as if it's got the same source. I was also going to say, I feel like the game is giving us, although a very good actual representation of what this experience can be like for someone. A lot of it also feels metaphorical as well, or analogous. Not quite analogous, metaphorical. Well, I guess both, analogous and metaphorical, in that some of it's, you know, like the representation of her arm here with this growing darkness that she feels is consuming her. It's a representation of certain elements of mental health as to how you feel. Some people do experience such a perception that there is an actual darkness consuming their body and mind. Other people feel like that's happening. So things like that too. So it's a nice, like I say, although it's giving us the experience of hearing voices and stuff, it's a nice mix of messages or mix of symbols here.
The Northmen tell this story. Before the earth was created, there was a world called Muspel. Because it was in the south, it was bright and hot, flaming, burning. Sparks that flew out from Muspel became the stars. Other sparks melted ice in the frozen world of Niflheim, creating the body of the first giant, Ymir. Muspel is one of the 9 worlds, and is now the land of the fire giants. And people from elsewhere cannot endure a journey there.
So, like I said earlier, we've got elements of mysticism tied in with all of this. I mean, you would have to wonder, I mean, maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't, but I know I did, as to what it takes, you know, if you don't go down the road of traditional, not traditional, modern medicine with regards to dealing with this type of condition. What does it take? How deep do you have to go inward into your own mind? What realms, what dimensions of your own consciousness must you pierce in order to resolve or deeply uncover whatever it is that's happening to you? Why your mind, your brain, your perception is functioning in a way that's different, apparently different to ordinary people, so-called ordinary people.
Another gate. She needs to find it. Another
How many gods must you slay? How many demons must you conquer, destroy, to find peace, you know? So the reason, again, I bring that up is because the journey inward, deep into this mind that has this type of perception / experience, it is a journey through multiple dimensions of what you are, what your consciousness is and how it's operating. And it's not the sort of thing that you can hide from. I mean, you can at times, you can hide from it, you can ignore it. But if it's something that's emanating from the heart of your experience itself, it doesn't matter where you go. You're not going to hide from it forever. It doesn't matter what pill you take.
Find the fire, Senua, to follow the path to Surt.
So it's no surprise that this mysticism is the language, this mystical language is the language that's used to describe and explain these various states and various forms of thought and emotion and perception that you must pierce inward into in order to uncover the answer to what it is that you're experiencing. If you have that question, and it's undoubtable that most will, What is
It's
this?
too far.
She'll never find it. She'll never make her way.
Why is this
She
happening
needs
to
remember
me?
the way back.
What happens when she finds it?
Everything will burn.
Concentrate on where you're going. She needs to remember the path.
Everything will burn, then how will she find the way back?
She won't. She won't be able to tell.
This dual mind. It has questions and answers simultaneously, you know. It questions its own existence and then arrives at the answer as well, in the same space of consciousness. It's a fascinating situation, being a human. Isn't it? You know, the fact that we can be born into an experience and have no idea what the fuck this is, or what this is all about, to then generate so many fantastic, mystical tales and legends of its origin, life's origin, and to give it meaning, and to create gods, and to manufacture belief systems and sciences to try to navigate all of this. It's amazing, really. I'm reminded of this truth when I play games like this, or just when I talk about these types of topics. Can I climb up this? No. I feel like I'm gonna have a bit of combat again soon. Maybe. Okay.
The Northmen made fire sacrifices, burning slaves like me to reveal the path to Surt. I searched for meaning in their suffering, in their eyes, but they just screamed like helpless pigs.
Voice acting's on point too, isn't it? Okay, so we have another... Looks like another symbol to press. Just wondering, I guess, do I go this way once? Yeah, that's the wall, isn't it?
Answer your prayers, Senua. I asked the gods for mercy, all of them, even theirs. None answered. In the end, I set myself free. Defy the gods, Senua! Find your own path, like I find mine!
My gods abandoned me! I am alone.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am already thoroughly enjoying this experience. It's gone a little bit... I don't know what's going on a little bit here with the graphics. They're sort of two-toned on her body there. You see that? I feel like maybe it's... Is it supposed to be that way? Is it kind of visual effect? It's not like that in the center of the screen. We've got like a radial blur going on. Anyway, I don't know if that's supposed to be there. I guess maybe it is. Maybe I should not look at her body and focus more on looking forward. at what we're looking at, what she's looking at. It goes into focus in the center of the screen anyway, as I was saying. Maybe that's used as a kind of like, you know, to guide your attention into the center and to look around with the camera, you know. Anyway, I am already and have and will, I do believe, I think, thoroughly enjoy this game. It's right up my alley, and probably more so than I even realized before, you know, talking to you about this sort of thing on camera. And I can only apologize again for the whole situation with Myst. It's just clearly I needed to play this, and I needed to play something a bit deeper. And I think like the last kind of survival game that really got me when I tried to play it, and I think I forgot to mention this earlier, is The Forest. Because, you know, that one kind of felt extremely well polished, and the story behind it and the enemies behind it, everything just felt really well put together, and it felt more immersive for me. Whereas again, I tried Myst, it just didn't quite work out. So I apologize if you were really expecting or hoping that I would play it. Maybe when it comes out of early access and it gets a bit more polished later on in the future, I'll be able to return to it, but I can't really say for sure. However, I think that's probably the last that I'll say on the Myst subject for now, and we are going to be playing with Senua in Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, for the week. And I hope you will enjoy this. And again, yeah, I apologize that we won't be playing Myst, but it's just one of those things that I think is probably going to happen occasionally on the channel. So I'll try to get out, well, I will get out at least 2 of these every day, and if I can, more. But I'm also doing a lot of work in the background at the moment from the I don't know, sometime like early December, for like 2 to 3 weeks. I'm going to be away. I'm going to be away for 2 weeks on holiday, and I'm thinking of taking off a few extra days before to prepare for what I've got to do, and just get a bit of peace and quiet before I take my 2 kids away by myself for 10 days, which is always going to be pretty full on. So what I'm doing is I'm doing like 2 to 3 hours on top of this series every day to get some short videos together of indie games. The series is going to be called The First Minutes Of. I intended it to be called The First 60 Minutes Of a Game, but I couldn't get through a lot of the games. Some of them are 20 minutes long, some of them are 30 minutes long, and they're like indie games that are not, I wouldn't necessarily see myself playing for a week on the channel, but at the same time I've been surprised by some of them, and I'm making a note of games that I want to come back to and play properly on the channel for a longer series. So you're gonna have, like, you know, from early December sometime, in about 2 weeks time, 2.5 weeks time, you're gonna have like 20 to 30 shorter videos coming out, 2 to 3 a day while I'm away. So I'm doing that in the background, which is why I might only get a couple episodes of Senua out, of Hellblade out every day. So anyway, just letting you know that that's what's going on in the background on this channel, and I can only say thank you for all your support. Thank you for all of the, you know, for you watching, hanging around, bearing with me throughout my many challenging moments on this channel, and I really do appreciate you guys. It's important, you know. I'm finding it to be of immense value in my life, and I hope you're enjoying it at the very least. I hope it's doing something for you too, and I hope it can do more for you going forward, and I hope to do more for you going forward. So alright, I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you in the next episode of Hellblade, which will be coming out later today sometime. Goodbye for now.